hours class for the Singer Professional 9100 sewing machine. My name's Devin, and I'm going to get you all set up and started on your brand new sewing machine. The first thing we're going to do is go through all the things in the box and how they look when you first pull them out. So first you have your machine, obviously. You have your extension table right here. This is going to help you work on bigger projects and give you a nice big working space to sew on. You have your instruction manual, so you have that right here. Your instruction manual is very important. You want to hang on to it. Don't throw it away or lose it. It's full of lots of good information about how to set up your machine, how to operate it. Super important, so definitely hang on to that. You also have a quick start guide. This is kind of like a cheat sheet, so if you have to look something up really fast about how to thread your machine, set it up, or wind a bobbin, you can check out your quick start guide. You have your foot pedal, and you have your power cord. And lastly, if you open your storage compartment right here, that's where all the rest of your accessories are. So there's some presser feet, a seam ripper, some spare bobbins and needles, and some other things that we'll talk about eventually. We're going to go over how to get your machine set up, so how to wind a bobbin and how to thread it. First, let's go over the parts of your machine. For our tour of the machine parts, we're going to start with something really easy. That's the power button. The power button is on the right side of your machine, right next to the cords. So we're going to turn it on, the light will come on, the LCD screen will come on, so you know your machine is turned on. These two cords on the side of the machine, one goes to the power source, to the wall, the other one goes to the pedal on the floor. That's how you're going to operate your sewing machine. So above all of the cords, we have the hand wheel. The hand wheel is the manual version of pushing the pedal. When you turn the hand wheel, you want to make sure that you only ever turn it towards you. That's the way that it was designed to move, so just remember to only turn it towards you. As we turn it, you can see that there's a silver hook bobbing up and down over here. This is called the take-up lever, and that will be important once we get to the threading. Moving to the top of the machine, we have a handy little carrying handle right here, so if you need to move your machine or take it somewhere, you can use the handle. Right here is your tension dial. Tension, when you're sewing, refers to the tightness of the stitches. For the most part, you can leave the tension dial set at 4. You really only need to change it if you're doing a specific technique or if you're doing fine-tuning adjustments, but for the most part, when you sew, you can just leave that set right at 4, which is the middle of the range of numbers. Moving down to the front of the machine over here, we have our speed control. This is a nice, handy feature. This sets the maximum speed that the motor will run when you push the pedal. So if you want to only sew very slow, you can put this all the way at the first little arrow, and even if you push the pedal all the way down on the floor, the machine will only sew slow. If you want to just kind of test it out at first, just put it at a medium speed, and that will give you a good idea for a place to start. Below, we have several buttons here. This button is the programmable needle up-down, so this can determine whether your machine stops with the needle down or the needle up. We have a stitch tie-off button, so this can be used to tie off your stitches as you're sewing. This is the reverse button, so we'll use that to back stitch, which is going to be how we secure our seams when we sew. And then we have our start-stop button. So this is how we can operate the machine without the foot pedal. We can just use the start-stop button if we want to. Moving down to where the needle is, we have this piece right here. This is called the presser foot. The presser foot is going to press down on the fabric when we sew. If you feel underneath it, there's some rough little pieces called the feed teeth or the feed dogs. These pieces grab the fabric and pull it through as you sew, and the presser foot presses down against it as you're sewing so that they have some leverage to be able to grab the fabric. If you reach through the machine right here, there's a lever that actually lets you raise and lower the presser foot. And it's kind of like park and drive. So when your presser foot is up, your machine is in park. When you're ready to sew and go somewhere, you're going to shift into drive by lowering your presser foot. When you're all finished sewing, you're going to put it back into park by raising your presser foot. Coming over here, we have our front panel of our machine, and we are going to explore that in more depth in the next segment. Let's take a closer look at the front panel of our machine. We have an LCD screen here that's displaying what stitch your machine is set on and all the settings, and we have some more buttons underneath. This is kind of like the mission control center of your machine. This is how you tell it what to do. These buttons down here, all the numbers, are your direct select stitches. So this is how you choose some more common stitches that you'll probably use all the time. So you have your straight stitches, some zigzag stitches, a few stretch stitches, and a hem stitch. You even have your buttonhole right here. But this machine has over 400 stitches. So to access those other stitches, you have some pull-down menus at the bottom of the machine. So you'll see there's 3 different stitch menu cards that pull out. The way that you access these cards is by pushing the mode button up here. When the first light is illuminated, that's your direct selection stitches. When you push mode, that goes to the second menu, which is the very first card right here. Pushing that button again moves the light down to your decorative stitches, which is the next menu. And then finally you have your 2 alphabets right here. So there's the first alphabet and the second alphabet. So that's how you access all those stitches that your machine can do. The buttons directly under the LCD screen are the controls for your stitch length and width. So when you push these, this is your width control, so that's the wider and narrower, and here's your length, so longer and shorter. The machine will automatically go to the default length and width settings when you choose a stitch, but you can of course change them if you want to change them. If you do change them and you want to change back to the default, you can click back until the number is highlighted with a box around it. That's how you know it's the default setting. You'll notice over here I've put on my extension table. This can be really useful when you're working on projects such as a quilt. When you're piecing or quilting, it just gives you a really nice big flat workspace to sew in for larger projects. Welcome to the owner's class for the Singer Professional 9100 sewing machine. My name's Devin, and I'm going to get you all set up and started on your brand new sewing machine. The first thing we're going to do is go through all the things in the box and how they look when you first pull them out. So first you have your machine, obviously. You have your extension table right here. This is going to help you work on bigger projects and give you a nice big working space to sew on. You have your instruction manual, so you have that right here. Your instruction manual